What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromRetail. Alright, this story's called Customer Doesn't Understand How Receipt Lookups Work. This will be long. I'm sorry. I work behind the return desk at a decently large retail store. I deal with every type of customer imaginable. The kind ones, the rude ones, and the especially rude ones. It was 2 to 3 weeks ago when one of those especially rude customers rolled in with a return. Multiple returns, rather. Right off the bat, I knew I was in for a treat. I was in the process of reticketing items previously returned on my desk, leaving little to no space for any more items on said desk. That's when this customer comes and slams her bag of returns on top of everything I was working on, including our expensive machines. Machines remained okay, by the way. No greeting said, just returns. I muster up my tightest smile possible and slowly remove my own work elsewhere and begin opening a computer for the return. I then ask the basics. Do you have a receipt? Nope. What about the form of payment used to purchase these items? Nope. I then tell her that I'll begin a receipt lookup in hopes of finding proof of these purchases so she can receive the full amount back for them. I start asking for her phone number in hopes that it's linked to our reward system, which would make the search easier. This is where she loses her patience. Just as I'm about to ask when these items were purchased, she goes off. Why don't you just scan the items? Scanning them should bring up my receipt. I tell her no, that's not how purchases from redacted work. She rolls her eyes at me and laughs. You just don't want to do it. Every other store does it for me. Stop making this difficult. I explain as calmly as possible that it's not possible to pull a receipt just from scanning a barcode from the items bought. We need a specified date when bought and either a phone number, email, or form of payment used in said purchase tagged along with an item ID, not just the item ID alone. That's literally useless. She gives me attitude for a few minutes as I go back months and months in an attempt to find her receipt to these items. But alas, she had to make yet another comment about my work. This shouldn't be as difficult as you're making it out to be, she angrily stated as she tried tilting the computer monitor so she can get a look at what I was doing from behind the desk. Not allowed! I quickly stopped her movements, wanting to protect our property, and snapped. It becomes difficult when you come in here empty-handed and impatient. She didn't say much after that. 5 more minutes of desperately searching. She gave up. She grabbed her unreturned items and thanked me for nothing. I smiled and told her to have a great rest of the day, to which she said, "Screw you!" to me and left. A coworker was quick to fill me in on previous encounters she had with that same customer. Apparently, she's known for being the worst of the worst. Thrives off of it even. Today, Sunday, God's Day, this devil of a woman returned with more returns. My coworkers and I were already pretty busy as is, but I made it a priority to take care of this red-horned woman despite it. I make room on our desk for her and beckon her up. She has attitude right off the bat. I'm here to return items, and hopefully this time you'll actually return them instead of bullcrapping me like my last visit. I grinned and told her I remembered her and hoped she was doing well. She ignored it and beckoned to her items. I searched the bag she provided for a receipt, and what do you know? She didn't have one, nor did she have the form of payment used to purchase them. Cue deja vu. Despite the previous interaction, she still couldn't handle the questions I had next. Date, email, phone number, anything to help. She still didn't get it. Still didn't appreciate my efforts to find her bloody receipt. I never have issues with this stuff, not from any other redacted. This specific store is beyond terrible with its customer service. You should be ashamed with how you've treated me. To her lack of knowledge, a manager had been watching the interaction from the start, as she was familiar with the customer herself. My manager swooped in after that statement, sweetened the customer up a bit, and somehow got a brand new phone number out of her. one that this customer never provided me with, and which helped find the receipt just like that. Her items matched with the receipt found, and she was credited a whopping $195 to her card. You would think she would be happy that the issue was resolved, but unfortunately, no. She began asking my manager why our systems were so flawed and why it takes so many steps for a receipt to be found. My manager explained our policies regarding the subject, and the devil woman left without another word spoken. I never ever get rude with customers like I got with this woman, even ones that talked to me with serious attitude. This one crossed a ridiculous amount of lines, from nearly ruining our printing machines, touching our property without permission, showing impatience, and being overall rude to me despite my long efforts to retrieve her receipt. I felt defeated. Returns without any proof of purchase are hard, beyond hard sometimes, but we like to go the extra mile in an attempt to find them for customers. Nobody wants to go home without their money back. We know this. We try to help. We really do. I wish more people could sense this. Me too, buddy. Me too. Actually, no, I don't, because your suffering leads to more stories, which leads to a happy audience. Am I right, guys? So yes, please continue suffering. I'm kidding. No. Guys, don't be jerks to people, especially when literally if you need to return something because you made a purchase that you couldn't responsibly make, that's on you, not them. And if you can't find the receipt, that's on you, not them. So if the return can't go through, it's on you, not them. Most of the time. Sometimes they are jerks, but that's hardly ever the case. Or is it? Watch me prove myself wrong in an episode of r/Tales from the Customer. Haha. Alright, here we have the first part of a long series of stories from user Never or Never. And here is the first one called Free from the Chains number 1. Give me that more expensive item for the same price as the cheaper item. Quick backstory. I'd worked at a popular video game store for roughly 12 years. It got stressful at times, and I developed anxiety about 5 or 6 years ago. I left recently, and my mental health has been improving greatly. A couple of years ago, I started documenting the more stressful events as motivation to find a way out and stay out, which I tried and failed a couple of times. Left, but had to go back because I wasn't able to find another job that I could do well. Now that I'm finally out, I'm hoping these stories can give a little entertainment to you fine folks. Some are long, some are short, but they're all events that show that people don't really need to act like this. Not quite sure how many I have, but we'll see. On with the story. A few days prior, a customer had bought a 120 gigabyte PlayStation 3 system. Can't remember the exact price, let's say $120. He comes in today saying that it doesn't work and wants to get it replaced. I quickly hook it up and try to turn it on, and it does not turn on. I determine that it is defective and go to replace it. Okay, yeah, looks like it's not working. Sorry about that. You said you just wanted to get another one? I ask. He says, yeah, do you think you could test it before I leave? I don't want to have to come back again. Sure thing, I reply. We don't normally test systems just before the sale. Rather, we test them first when they come in. Naturally, we're only human, so sometimes a bad one will slip past us, but I decided I should in this case. I went to the back to get a replacement, only to find that there were no other 120 gigabyte models. Only 160, which costs $150. I brought it out and said, looks like we're actually out of the 120 gig, but we have the 160. It's a difference of like $30. Do you want this one? Yeah, that'll be fine, he said. So I go ahead and hook it up, turn it on, check the hard drive size. I was already there, so I may as well check. We had a couple of incidents where they were labeled as the wrong size. He seemed satisfied, so I box it up and start processing the return of the 120 and the sale of the 160. Alrighty, anything else for you today? I ask. No, that'll be it. Okay, so the difference is going to be $31.79. I say. He looks puzzled. What? I have to pay? Yes. Remember we didn't have any 120 gigs, so you said you're okay with the 160 gig? Yeah, but I didn't think I'd have to pay for it. You guys sold me a bad system, so you should honor the return. I hate it when people use honor with backwards logic like this. We can definitely process the return, sir, but this is technically a different item, so the price is different, I say. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't make a mistake, so I shouldn't have to pay anything. I realized we were getting nowhere, and instead of trying to explain it to him further, I just wanted him to leave. I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and process the refund and give you your money back. Wait, what? Don't you want the refund? I ask. What I want is a working system. Well, this 160 gig here works, but I'm afraid I can't change the price to 120. I can see if a nearby store may have 120 gig for you. Just forget it, dude. Just give me my money back. Sure thing, I say and process the return without another word. I hand him the money and receipts together, which he snatches from my hand, pockets the money, and crumples up the receipts and leaves them on the counter, and then he saunters off. Hey! I didn't think to mention that he was swearing and insulting me as well. I'd have been stressed even without that, so I didn't think it was necessary to talk about his F-bombs and calling me mentally challenged. But I guess I'll stop censoring myself for my future stories. Okay, can I see where the customer is coming from? Yeah, 100%. Because like sometimes if you buy something from a place and they sell you a faulty item, and they don't have the replacement in stock, they'll just upgrade you for free. But that's usually offered, and maybe if you ask and negotiate kindly, maybe. But what this guy did was just rude. He was being a jerk and he was acting entitled. So yeah, he didn't deserve crap other than what he paid for, I guess. This story's called Free from the Chains number 2. Tell me if that other business is open or not. Tale number 2 from the game store. Regular weekend day. Don't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. Fairly busy, lots of people making small purchases. The phone rings. I ask my current customer to excuse me after answering their question and then answer the phone and give the spiel. Hey, do you know if the Chinese food place next door is open? The phone guy asks. I'm puzzled as I've never been asked about another business like this before. I say, I'm not sure. Well, I'm calling them and they won't pick up. Can you go check for me, please? He asked. Polite though he may have been, this was one of the strangest requests I have ever had. I'm sorry, sir. I've got quite a few customers to take care of, so I can't do that, I say. Well, just put me on hold until you're done, then you can check, can't ya? If we didn't have 2 phone lines, I would have declined. But I obliged and put him on hold and went back to tending the customers. My coworker was in the back doing inventory, and I didn't really need him out there to help since it was more of a leisurely stream than a crashing wave of customers. About 5 minutes later, the guy calls again. Hi, thanks for calling. Yeah, I know. What, did you forget about me or something? He barked. I hate it when people cut me off. So disrespectful. No, sir, I didn't, but I'm still helping customers. You're not a customer since you're not doing business with me, so you are not anywhere near the top of my priorities right now. Well, I can't wait much longer. Can you just tell one of them to check outside? I actually thought about doing this. One of my regulars was in, and he'd gone out and got me some food. Not from the Chinese place, if you're curious. Once when I was working alone, so I thought he'd be a good sport about it. But as I was thinking about asking him, for fork's sake, dude, I just need to know if the fucking restaurant is open, he said. No, he was not talking about cutlery. At this point, I was done with him. I'm sorry, sir, but if you don't have a question about our business, I can't help you, I said and hung up. Think it ends there? You're right. I'd love to say he actually came in and yelled at me or something, which I was actually afraid of happening, but he never did. Never found out if the Chinese place was open or closed, though. Okay, but honestly, I feel for this guy too. He was acting out of line. That was not their job to check if the Chinese place was open. But I can tell how frustrating it can be, but he just needs to find something else to eat, okay? I know Chinese scratches an itch that very few other foods can scratch, but you're gonna have to suck it up, Buttercup. Alright, this last story is called Free from the Chains number 3. Oh, your card system's down? Well, that means I could just take it without paying, right? Tale number 3 from the game store. It's a fairly normal day. Checking customers out, pervert. Processing trades, the usual. In comes a guy wanting to buy a controller. I put it on the counter and scan it, and just before I process the sale, there's a brownout and the power flickers. The computers stay on, so I go ahead and try to finish the transaction. The guy wanted to use a debit card to pay. He slides his card and the computer displays an error message. It's at this point I realize the internet has cut out, which I confirm by attempting to check the balance on a gift card, which brings up the same error message. I say to the guy, "I'm sorry, it looks like that brownout knocked our internet out, and we can't process card transactions. The computer's still working though, so if you have cash, we can still do it." "But I only have my card. I don't have any cash on me," he laments. "I'm sorry. Hopefully it's not out for too long. Do you want to wait a bit to see if our connection comes back on soon?" "No, I'm actually in a hurry." "Oh, sorry about that. I can hold the controller for you if you want to come back later."
"I need it now. Can't I just take it now?"
Do you have cash?"
"No, I already said I didn't."
"Well, in that case, I'm afraid you won't be able to buy it until our system comes back up."
"Well, that's not my fault. I have the money on my debit card. It's your fault you can't process it. So I should be able to use the controller anyway."
I am at a loss. I didn't cause the power to flicker, sir, so I don't see how it's my fault.
"Well, you should have a way of dealing with this."
There was a method of getting a physical imprint of the card to process later, but that's only possible when the computer detects a problem and prints out a sheet automatically. It can't be done manually. I'm really sorry, but as it stands, it looks like we can't sell you the controller at this time, I say, and take the controller from the cash wrap and put it on the back counter, just in case he decides to take it anyway. Apparently, this was a slight to him.
"What? You're saying my money's no good here? I have the money right here,"
he says as he waves his card about. "I understand, sir, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we can't access that money at the moment. I'm really sorry."
"I don't care if you're sorry. I need the controller and I need to go. I can't wait for your stupid internet to start working again,"
he barks. "I'm sorry, sir, but there's nothing I can do for you at the moment," I say.
"Well, you can give me the number to corporate because I'm gonna make a complaint."
I already had the card in my hand because I knew we were gonna end up here. "Here you go, sir," I say as I hand the card to him. "Is there anything else I can do for you today?" He looks at me and says,
"You're a freaking idiot,"
and waltzes off without the controller. I gave a heads up to my district manager about the situation in case he would call to complain. To my knowledge, he never did. Man, I wish they would have said whether or not the internet came back on soon after, because that'd have been funny. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.